we want to get started, because the expansion committee is Joyce, Sandy, and Evelyn, and everybody's on.
And just so
Very-
you're aware, Cindy, I have to jump off at 1:30. I have
Yeah, I
another
knew you
call.
had limited time, so I didn't know if either of you could start and kind of speak to sort of what our real goal should be for this meeting, which my understanding is we would kind of take things room by room based on the drawings that Jeff gave us. And like I made all kinds of notes on my printout to say what I thought of each room or whether or not I thought we needed it. But if you could maybe speak to that a little bit more and kind of give us a good direction before you get off the call.
Can I just add something? If you look on Jeff's proposal, he has everything listed in how many the length and width of each building or of each room. So I don't know if that might be helpful at all. Like, for example, a large assembly multi-purpose. It's 40 by 50, a stage 16 by 20. And they go right down, and then the administration, the director, the assistant director, the size of all the offices. So, or if you want to go room by room, down to each room, we can do that. But I just happened to notice this while I was waiting.
Okay.
The reason why I wanted to attend today's meeting was to clarify Evelyn's note that the select board had already decided that this project was going to go on Morgan Ave. That hasn't been decided yet. I have no idea where this Council on Aging is gonna go. The select board hasn't had that discussion yet. So can I just clarify that? Does anybody have any questions around that?
Well, I have a question. Are we going to propose a new town hall, however that may be, this year?
Probably.
Okay, so we're talking about Council on Aging, and we're talking about a new town hall.
Well, maybe not on at the same space. I mean, that's one alternative, but I mean, the board has to meet and discuss, and the board has never met and discussed this at a board level. And I think Jerry can speak to that too, if she wants to. But I think the first step in determining a Council on Aging solution is to go through this process that you're going through and determine what you need. And then we can look at where to put that in the town. I mean, the town has several places. They have land, maybe we could build something. You may want to rent an option. I mean, I think what Evelyn, what you're trying to do is retrofit the Council on Aging into something that the town already has, whether it's that the old building that the police station just moved out of. But I don't think that serves the elders of our community well at all. I think that we need to determine what space you need and then find a solution. And I'm going to ask Jerry to speak to that and see what her thoughts are.
You know, I don't have any thoughts at this juncture. I'm just an interested person, just wanting to be informed. That's why I'm here today.
So you don't have any idea, any thoughts on what the best way to find the solution for the Council on Aging is?
No, I think what you're suggesting is find out what their needs are.
Yeah.
Which, you know, and then take it from there, one step
Yeah.
at a time.
Exactly. Tracy?
Just if you look at the, it might be helpful just as where we have the example of the police station. We started out at the very ground level with doing what you guys are doing right now for the COA, determining the spaces, what spaces do we have to have, how big are they? You know, we have to have holding cells, we have to have a dispatch area. Once we determined that, then the next phase was the what was it, the public safety site location, or they had a lot of letters, but we looked at the existing site. We looked at sites out near the dump. We looked at sites on Route 1. There was a lot of conversation and a lot of deliberation on where the best location was. And the results of that committee were determined that keeping it into a central, if you will, public safety, civic center complex area, that was kind of, the green was identified as the town seat, if you will, and that, you know, we should keep our activities, our governmental activities in that area. Once they came to that decision and the architect knew the site, then he looked at various iterations, whether it was, I think at one point it was a police station, fire station, and then it became a police station, town hall, then it became a standalone police station. So it kind of, it develops in phases. You know, I was always surprised in different projects that I've worked on over the years. I'm a very visual person. I like to see the pictures and the drawings. And when you look at a site, or when I look at a site, it's very hard for me to picture those buildings on that site. And, you know, initially you're like, oh, that won't fit there, it won't work. But the architects have, can do a lot of amazing work to show you what it might look like when we get to that phase. But I don't think right now you can, it doesn't sound like you want to rule anything out. But just determining the appropriate spaces and the necessary spaces that you have to be a functioning council and to provide the services that you provide to your seniors.
But I don't want the, I think we need to learn from the police station. I don't want to be 4 years, 5 years into a council on aging site.
Oh, none of us do, I don't think.
No.
That-
That would not be good. And then we'll also have to, I mean, I think the Council on Aging, you have two issues, honestly. The first issue is what we're doing right now is dealing with a long-term solution. And I think you also have another issue that's a short-term solution for where you're gonna go until the long-term solution is resolved or found, because I don't think the school is a good place for you guys to be right now. I think that although it's small, you know, the space is okay. I don't think the seniors should be in there mixing with the elementary school. Now, that's just my personal opinion. I don't know how you guys feel. Maybe you're comfortable there. I'm not sure. I think Mike Doyle had reported to us at one point that you guys didn't want to be in the school because of COVID.
Well, not because of COVID, but because we didn't have enough space to do what we wanted to do.
Well, that's the long term. That's the long-term solution.
Because COVID is upon us now, we have to deal with that, but hopefully that's short term.
Yeah.
Do you have a preference as to where the senior center is located, the expansion committee? Have you discussed that at all, or is that something you're willing to wait till the next phase to determine?
Sandy or Joyce, do you want to answer that?
I'm just looking for a central place and a place large enough and with enough parking.
Definitely.
Like any other service, those are all things that are important. And I think Cindy might have a better idea than she deals there now on a daily basis. Not that she's been there when it's really been up and running and trying to fit people in and trying to have lunches, and which was really difficult. But to me, it comes down to sufficient space and parking and a location that's reasonable for all.
Makes sense.
Did you want to add to that, Sandy?
I think in backing up, I'm looking at the 90-foot level or whatever you want, 100-foot level. When we started this, we were thinking, we really hate to burden the taxpayers. We really don't want to do that. And again, like you said, Alicia, we want something short-term. So I think when we saw these plans, we thought, oh shit, this is not going to fit into the town hall, and I think at that level, I was thinking, well, let's work this down so it will work. So I guess that's why we're looking to you for guidance, what to go next, because we thought, okay, we have to shrink. Jeff, I don't know, Jeff, he may have gotten a great big plan and thought, oh, we'll get these guys a great big place, but not understanding that we're looking for a place to get us into, and we're okay with concessions for things. We just need something better than we got now, than we have now. I guess that's my feeling. And
So I think you guys-
so when we saw his plans, I thought, oh no, this isn't what we meant. This is way too big. It's not going to fit there. And so that's how I was confused.
Yeah, well, I think when you guys met with him, because I was on that call a little bit, he asked for everything, to the moon and back, anything you could possibly want. And that's how it got to be so big. And now you have the, unwielding task of, sharpening your pencil and making your Xboxes. Oh, we can't have that. That costs too much, or that's too big, or this, that. So I think we're still in the process phase. I don't think that we're ready to decide on a location yet. I think, let's just, let's complete what we started. Find a space that you can, what it is that you need to provide the services that you want to provide. And then the next step, we can talk about where this is going to go. Does that sound like a reasonable approach to everyone?
It does to me.
Evelyn?
I guess for this moment, it does. I think it would make more sense if we had a site in mind and we could fit our building into wherever the site may be. We looked
Well,
at
that may be where we end up. But right now, I don't think we want to do that. I think it does a disservice to the seniors in town to try to retrofit something. I mean, we're an aging population. We have more people that are going to be elders or seniors, whatever you want to call them, that are going into the schools. So this is something that's not going to get smaller. It's going to get bigger. So let's provide at least have a wish list. Even if we don't get it all now, we could do like phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 type of a thing, as space becomes available, and you might be, broken up in some parts here and some parts there. Maybe you keep your space at the Newbury Elementary School and do some things there. And then if you want to do other things, you go there. But I don't think at this point where we are right now, we're at that point. And if I'm looking at this wrong, somebody please correct me.
Well, let me put it another way. If the expansion committee said tomorrow that we want to fit ourselves into the Old Town Hall, would that be, would the select board say, okay, that's good, we'll put you there?
Well, I don't know that answer because I can't speak for the select board.
I realize that, but
But do you want to ask me personally what I would say?
no, I think you have an idea of how your fellow members would respond. I'm not trying to be difficult. I'm trying to figure out where we can go, whether we can go with stick built, whether we go into something existing. It does make a difference.
Well, let's first decide what it is we need.
I
Tracy?
think, Mrs. Noyes, I think with your expertise with property management and real estate and everything, you're way ahead of where we are. You're already visioning like the next phases of this development.
Yeah, that could be.
Which is natural. That's your area of expertise. But we've got to catch up first. You as the expansion team need to really take a hard look at everything that's been provided based on your conversation with Jeff and say, okay, this is what we think we need. We think we need 10,000 square feet, but we really don't need this. And this is a duplicate of this space and this, and get it down to what you really need to function. Once you have that number, then, the select board can go to Jeff and say, okay, we're interested in seeing what this might look like if it was a combined town hall COA. What might it look like if it was a freestanding COA? What would this fit in the existing building that we have, formerly known as the town hall, formerly known as the police station? Or what would it look like if we just built a brand new building? But I think you guys, as the expansion committee, I do think you have a little bit of work to do before we get to the next step. And I agree with you, Mrs. Noyes. I don't think anybody wants to, have this drag on as long as the previous proposal did, for sure. And we do have a lot of preliminary work done relative to town hall, but there are going to be some difficult decisions. Do you want your town hall in that civic center area? Do you want a town hall somewhere else? Do you want the town to continue leasing? I mean, those are all certainly options that the select board will have to make final decisions on before the final proposal is brought to the residents for action.
And honestly, Evelyn, if I was to ask the select board, that question is, do you think we could put the Council on Aging in where the old police station is right now? I know me personally, I would say, well, how much space do they need? Do they need it all? And I don't have that answer because you haven't done this level of work yet. So, I mean, it's not responsible, I don't think, to bring it to the board level yet. Once you have it, you have what you need, then you can say, this is what we need. How are we going to get it? And then that's up to the board to decide.
Well, you can tell I'm the impatient one of the three.
Well, Evelyn, look what you lived through, honestly. I mean, you've lived this once already. I mean, and I did too, and Tracy did too. Look at how long it took to get a police station. We still don't have a town hall solution. So, I mean, in the Council on Aging, quite frankly, that should have been picked up years ago as well. And you guys are doing, commendable work, but let's just do it right. Let's do it right. And let's make sure that you have something that you can grow into instead of out of.
Well, excuse me for a minute. Then Cindy has to, if she's probably getting quite confused because in one way, I think she thought we had to cut down space. But now we're saying, let's do it right. And that's what it's all about, is doing it right for the future.
Absolutely.
So
please don't try to retrofit something into something that may not work. I think that's just.
I wasn't trying to do that, Alicia. I wasn't trying to put us there. I was under the impression you were.
No, I never said that. And I don't want, I mean, you may end up there. I don't really know. I'd like to see what you guys come up with for what you need first. And then, I'll get behind you as much as I can to push it to what you guys need. Where that goes, I don't really know. I think that needs to be a bigger discussion, but let's just, agree to what it is that you're gonna have for space.
Well, like, were you gonna say something, Cindy?
I was just gonna say, that's how I took sort of my assignment
Okay.
for this meeting, was to look at what we gave Jeff and then say, I really don't think we need this space or this particular room, and let's get rid of it. Or I really think we do need this space because we could use it, it's multi-service, multi-purpose or whatever. So that's how I took this, was not to
Okay.
try and fit it in somewhere. It was, what do I feel? And I actually spoke with the two staff members here, how they felt too about what we really need to keep.
And for the future, do you think that might be in there, like Alicia's saying, the community is getting older and it's the elderly members are going to grow, is what I understand she means by that. So that's an unknown factor. So,
No, but they can project and they can plan for that. You can do projections for that.
well, why don't we hear what Cindy has to say? She spent some time on it. Does that make sense to move ahead and see what she has?
Yes, and actually, I'm gonna bow out because I have another 1:30 that I have to go to. So you guys are recording this. I'll go back and I'll watch it. And Jerry, are you gonna stay on the whole call? Okay, well, maybe she can, if I have any questions, I can reach out to her too. All right.
So, excuse me. Well, thank you for your participation today, Elisa.
Oh, you're welcome, and thank you for your time, and thank you for your perseverance in trying to solve this issue. This is an important issue.
It is. So I just want to check with Evelyn and Sandy. Would you want to see what Cindy has in mind?
Certainly.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks,
Bye.
Alicia.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, Cindy, I think the floor is yours.
Okay, so did everyone get a copy of this? I don't know if, Jerry, if you have copies of these drawings, I can certainly share them with you, after this meeting. But the way the drawing comes up first is there's a vestibule kind of entrance into the building, which I didn't touch. I felt like that's an important thing to have. And I may not be, again, I think like Tracy, it's hard for me to really envision this without it right in front of me. But my thought is this is a covered entryway, which is specifically what I asked Jeff for. The next area is the lobby. I had a couple of questions about this and I don't know what people's thoughts are. I have a concern with having the bathrooms right off of the lobby. I'm almost wondering if they can be sort of in a hallway, maybe a little bit closer to where the rooms are that are going to be, I'm so sorry, I'm right next to a phone here. A room that is, the restrooms can be closer to activity areas, so it's not so difficult for people to get to the restroom. They don't have to call them all the way back to the lobby. So that was a question I had. And also maybe a little bit of seating in the lobby. So if people are coming in, someone needs to sit, say all of us are on the phone or something and the person can't stand. I was just wondering if we could put maybe a couple of chairs in there because I did not see that.
Cindy, that's 18 by 24,
Mhm.
the lobby.
Mhm.
And what seems to be in it is a door going to the activity areas,
Mhm.
a display case, a coffee counter and the front desk. And
I cannot tell in that drawing between where the restrooms are with those little,
well, with those, it seems to be, do you see where the entranceway is, the vestibule? Yeah, sure.
vestibule. Yeah,
Yeah, well, that's where you're coming in.
right.
So when you come in, the two toilets are on your right,
Mhm.
and on your left is the coffee area, a
And that
display
front
case in the front
Reception
desk.
desk, yeah.
Yeah. And then you have the doorway that says to the activity areas.
Mhm.
So it's, and I think you're gonna have to put some chairs in there and whatever, because the receptionists may have to ask somebody to, would you mind sitting for a moment, and I'll
Right.
reach them. So,
Right.
yeah, so that's a public lobby.
Yes.
And it has the toilets. That's a good reason and a bad reason. The good thing is if somebody that comes in wants to use the bathroom, they don't have to go walking down the hallways and disappear into wherever.
True.
But the bad reason is it's just far away from everybody that's in the actual COA. That maybe there's another bathroom somewhere. I'm not sure.
Well, my thought was just to ask him if there's any way we can put it right outside the lobby area.
Okay.
I mean, we can ask and see what he,
All right. Well, he may have a reason too. I
He
mean, this is what he does.
right.
And he looked at other, he was going to check in with other COA. Do you remember he said that he knew somebody that was an architect that actually has designed a
Yes.
COA in the past?
Yes.
So, okay, that's just my comments on that.
I also did let him know too, just so you all are aware, that I let him know that I felt he could reach out to Newburyport, because that was a sort of the top of the line that I was thinking of that I've been to, that I felt was a good representation of what, I mean, that place is massive, and I'm not saying that's what we need, but the feel of it and the look of it was kind of what
Right.
I was going for.
I've
And
never,
some ideas.
well, in those restrooms are by the dining area and the kitchen, and that makes so much sense too.
That makes a lot of sense. If, you know,
Yeah.
people are coming for a luncheon or whatever, they
Right.
can wash their hands, but
You just
um,
walk down and
you know,
you're
the
they're
restroom
right
being
there. Yeah,
I agree.
okay.
And then I did, moving on to the public toilet page that he had, these seem really big to me, but I don't know if that's because there's certain regulations that he has to abide by, but having 3 stalls plus a handicap stall, I felt was kind of a lot. And I didn't know if that would help save space a little bit by maybe eliminating one of those stalls from the bathroom. It was just a thought. I felt that those were just,
Well, that's a 10 by
know.
20 area, and it seems to include the men. So if you remove,
I think what that's saying is in lieu of those 2 toilets in the men's room, there would be 2 urinals.
oh, okay,
That's how I took that.
all right. I don't, so urinal at men's room. Okay. So there's 2 of them, so this is 20 by 10. So I'm not sure that included everything, but they're shown, I think, on each end of, there's 2 separate rooms.
Right, so there's a men's room and a women's room.
Yeah, okay.
So I'm just questioning if maybe it doesn't need to be that big, if we can maybe take one of the toilet stalls out. It might be a way to save space, I don't
Yeah.
know. Or if-
Again,
if
we
there's
don't
regulation.
know if a handicap and wheelchairs and what the rules are on that and whether he was abiding by them, but that's a
Right,
good
and I'm assuming
question.
each one would have to have a handicap stall, but like if you picture the drawing that's in front of us as the women's room, I'm wondering if we take out one of those other 3 toilets.
Sure,
Is
you
it
can
really-
add, yeah,
You know?
you
I
can
just
put
don't-
that on the list.
I'm wondering if the foot traffic will really ever get to that point where you need to have that many.
I hope so.
The next page has what's called a companion toilet, which is a private bathroom of just a sink and a toilet. When I reached out to Jeff to just question that, he said other designers that he's spoken with, staff generally uses that bathroom. There's not a specific staff bathroom in this drawing, but I had actually requested having a bathroom specifically for staff. I didn't want the staff to share a public toilet.
Yeah.
So my question on this particular page was where exactly is he locating this? You know, is it out? I didn't think it was part of that lobby area because it doesn't say, it just says toilet and toilet on that drawing. So that was one of my questions for him, was to find out where exactly this bathroom would be located.
Okay,
Did anyone else have thoughts about the bathrooms while we're talking about those? No?
Is anybody else looking at the layout at all? Do you have it up, Tracy?
Yes, I have a copy.
You're watching it as we go along?
I have it, a hard copy.
Oh, a
too.
hard copy.
Yeah,
Okay.
All right, so the next page is a consultation waiting area, which I had specifically requested. So the page after that is the actual consultation room. I felt this room is necessary for when we have the Shine counselor. We need to be able to provide that person with a private area where they can have computer access and be able to print things out for people. I also see this room as if we were to do, let's say, a blood pressure clinic or a podiatrist would come in. It just gives people privacy with the person they're consulting with. But then having a little area right outside where people can sit and wait when, if they arrive a little bit early for their appointment, they have some place that they can sit and wait. It certainly doesn't need to be anything big, but having a few chairs there, I thought was, I liked these two spaces in particular. I thought that was important.
But it doesn't show a desk or maybe that leads into the
Into the consultation room.
into the consultation room. And
So
then
that
at the-
consultation waiting area, it's simply a waiting room.
Yeah,
basically.
I see it now. Okay.
So then that consultation room, you can see, has a table and chairs. He put printer there. So it's, whether we provide a laptop or whatever, as long as they will be able to access the internet and can print out documentation. And again, it's a closed door, so there's privacy for people. The next page shows the coat closet. I feel like this is huge. And I know that we had talked about lockers when we were on the call with Jeff initially. I'm wondering if that's taking up an awful lot of space and what the usage of that would be. And I know he cautioned us too that it's kind of 50-50. You put a coat closet in and nobody uses it, or you don't put one in and everyone needs it. So it's kind of, it's hard to decide, but I almost feel like when I was talking with Karen, and Jerry Karen is our new program coordinator. She was the program coordinator at the Council on Aging in Orleans. She and I were talking about a coat closet, and they had something similar there. And they actually had a couple of chairs in that closet. So people could come in, let's say they come in for a yoga class in January and it's slushy out. They're hanging up their coat, they're taking off their boots, and they're, changing into shoes for their yoga class. They can sit there and do that quickly and then, head to their class. Just a way to not kind of track mud and whatever into the rest of the building. Safety too, so people aren't slipping and sliding, wearing wet boots or whatever, but it also just gave them a space to put their belongings while they go into their class. I'm just questioning if the lockers are really necessary. Another concern about the lockers that I had was, is it going to be a combination lock? Is it going to be a key? Someone's going to walk off with the key. We're never going to be able to get into that locker again. It's going to get lost. That kind of a thing is what kind of our thought process was. So I'm questioning if A, should we do away with the coat closet, or B, just get rid of the lockers and make it much smaller, was my thoughts on that.
I said
And I'm
make it
assuming this
smaller.
area is off the lobby too.
Evelyn, did you say something?
Yeah, I said make it smaller.
Okay.
Does everyone assume this would be off the lobby too?
I don't have any idea.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it would make the most sense to be close to the lobby.
It says it's off the reception.
Yeah, I see it written there, but it's hard, again, and I'm a visual person, so it's hard for me to visualize where off of, I'm just assuming.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's 10 by 14, so it is, that's 140 square feet. Is that right? When it says the coat closet and it says a 1/4 inch, oh, that's the scale.
That's the
Okay.
scale, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
if we want to retain the lockers, perhaps we could do a small set of lockers in the room that we would do the yoga. I mean, just somewhere, if I'm coming to do yoga, if I have a purse, what am I going to do with it? You know,
And I
if
don't know what people do
you don't
now.
even- you wouldn't even have to lock it if it's in the same room. You're right there.
You're
It's
sitting
just-
right there. Yeah.
It's just out of the way instead of putting it on the floor. That's the only thing I'm thinking.
Sure, that's a good idea. So the next page is that large assembly / multi-purpose room. And I specifically requested a large room like this that had a divider. So we could have it either as a massive room to say when we do a holiday party and we're expecting 100 people to come for lunch. We'd be able to spread out, have tables and chairs, serve 100 people, and off they go, all in the same room. Or we can separate that room and use it for two purposes at the same time. So maybe there's a luncheon going on, a regular everyday kind of a luncheon going on. And on the other side, there might be some kind of a program about, you know, some kind of educational program where a speaker is coming and there's seating for people. I wanted this specifically to be off the kitchen so it'd be easy to serve meals. The one thing I'm wondering, and I can't remember if we mentioned it to Jeff or not, is to have a serving window from the kitchen into this area. I know we have the two doors there. But one thing I'm wondering, like what's here in the current space where we are now, which I think was part of the original school kitchen, there's like a serving window where you can open and close it. So that's kind of what my one question on this particular page was, can we have a window, a serving window like that? I really
You
like the
did-
idea of,
Yeah, you did mention it to him, so,
okay,
yeah.
all right, I
Yeah.
noted it, so we can always, I can address it with him again.
I think it might show off the kitchen floor plan, but it doesn't show off the assembly area where it would.
Okay.
But would you want
We
it
can-
to be able to be accessed to both sides?
I'm fine with it just being, you know, on one side so that at the very least, even if you have to go to that, you know, the other end of the room to serve, you don't have to go in and out of a door. You can at least just go over, you know, no matter what, you're going to have to walk as a server, you know, so I just think it would just be easier to be able to pass things quicker.
Exactly.
Well, Newburyport has that. It's all
Okay.
open. And they have where they put everything out for the waitresses to pick up and take to the tables.
Sure.
And when
Yeah,
they
that's
clear away the dishes, they put everything on the counter.
Yeah, plus it keeps them out of the kitchen. So the people that are working in the kitchen have, you know, free reign to move around. So that's all I was thinking of. So I'll address that. It does look like where he has this partition, I was hoping that this would be the case, that the storage area for that is bumped out. So it's not right there in the room, kind of taking up space. So I liked that. It looks like this room is the closest to the reception area. I liked that too. And of course, I did request having, I know he calls it a stage, but it's just, you know, basically a few stairs up so that it puts that speaker a little bit higher so that if people are sitting, you know, to come listen to a presentation, or if there's an entertainer, it's just so everyone can see them, was my thought. So I know it says stage. I don't want people to mistake it as being some, you know, Broadway production stage. It's just basically to get people, be able to see them when they're.
Yeah, I think it needs to be renamed.
Okay. And there's also the projection screen that would come down. So we're not going to have anything on the wall, but if, you know, if someone's doing a presentation, and again, this would be great if, you know, others in the community need to use this room for some big meeting, they can, you know, there's enough space and they can use that projection screen to display whatever it is they're talking about. And there is a handicap accessible ramp as well to get on and off that stage, or whatever we want to call it. At the other end of this room, which is what I did specifically request a lot of storage because I think it's important to be able to put things away. There is table and chair storage and then equipment storage. So should we have, just to throw it out there, if we have a ping pong table, I can fold it up and put it away. It's not constantly out in that room or taking up space or even sitting out when we're going to use the room for something else. The whole purpose of having these multi-purpose rooms was so I can put things away and bring the next, whatever the next activity or program is in there. So I really like this, having the storage in that room. So I did not want to eliminate that. Anyone have any questions?
No?
All right, moving on to the kitchen. And maybe this is where that serving, I think that's Sandy, where you're seeing that serving window is in between those door openings. Because I see it says serving, so maybe it's actually there, like you
I
say.
think so.
Yeah,
Okay. All right, so we can double check that with him to make sure. And as far as the kitchen went, all of the equipment, so to speak, that I had asked for, I'm seeing here, like having food prep space, he put a double oven in here. I'm not sure. I don't know if we need a double oven or what. I don't know at this point. I
well,
don't
it's like a commercial kitchen in a way, so
That's-
I think in the long run, we'd want a double oven.
know. Okay.
I wish I had a double oven.
The countertop dish machine was huge for me when I went over to Georgetown. They had that, and it's one thing that the director there said was it makes it really quick to get dishes done. Whereas, we have a regular dishwasher here, and when you put your dishwasher on, it's not quick. So the turnaround time to be able to put things away and move on, I thought was huge. I did like the setup that he has here. I think it's conducive to being able to provide those kind of regular everyday luncheons that we'd like to do, but also can handle a bigger production. Maybe we have 20 people come for a regular luncheon, but maybe we do something special and 50 people are there. This could still handle that. I don't know what our plan would be. I believe in the past with those major like holiday luncheons, I believe those were catered, if I'm remembering my communication with Maggie correctly.
That's correct.
Okay, so either way, it would still allow us to serve from that, from that kitchen. So I didn't have any problems with the kitchen. I don't know as far as the space, what your thoughts are.
Look good to me.
Yeah,
The only thing that I mentioned earlier is I didn't see a direct exit entrance, for deliveries.
Yes, and I actually wrote a sticky note on this page too to ask him that, because I did think that was important.
Because you don't want deliveries in through the hall with
Nope.
people.
Not through the lobby and all that. Yeah, no, I
Right.
would like it to come direct into the kitchen. So I did put that on there. Then he has a pantry right off of the kitchen. Obviously for storage, I thought that again was important. The next room, he has labeled fitness room. And I know all of these rooms have specific labels, but especially when speaking with Karen, we feel the need to have all of the rooms be multi-purpose. So yes, it can be called the fitness room. Yes, that's where we have our yoga class, but it doesn't mean we can't use it for something else. I think it's just for the matter of this drawing. I get the point of having them labeled this way, but I do want to be clear that our intention is to have, they're multifunctional. It's not just, oh, we're only going to have fitness classes in there. So if there's no fitness class on Wednesday, we're never going to use that room. That's not the intention. The only thing that is a concern to me, I love the idea that he put equipment in this room, but it would be limiting. So I can't take those pieces of equipment out. They'd always be in that room. So that might be something, I know he just put them in here for the sake of showing what the room is, but, and I know we don't have those pieces of equipment now, but I'm not convinced that would be, I love the idea of being able to offer it to people, but again, I can't put them away. So it's just something that we need to think about.
Cindy, on that room, forgetting about the equipment, let's put that aside for a second.
Yep.
Could you use that other multi-room for yoga classes?
Of course. Yep.
So could we just dispense with this? Do we, if we have to cut down on space, can we do away with this room?
I think if it came down to it, we could do away with this room. I definitely want to do away with the next room. So I didn't want to do away with this one
Okay,
at this stage. I wanted to
Okay.
keep this one. And then if we need to, we can let it go.
all right.
That was my thought. But yes, I agree, you know, we could put that partition up, and the side that's not closest to the kitchen, that one that's closer to the stage, you could have your yoga instructor or whatever up there, or whoever's running whatever class we're doing. And there's plenty of room there as well. So it's
Okay.
not like we would then not be able to have yoga, you know, it's just, but yes, I would like to keep this one for now. But like I said, the very next room is a games room. And I think we can eliminate it. I don't, simply because of another room that's coming further down, I see no point to keeping this particular space. Did anyone else have thoughts on that room? No,
You're talking about the game room. I'm sorry, I lost my
Yes.
picture there for a moment.
yeah,
As long as there's another room, because the seniors do like to play bingo. They like to do whist and
of course.
other games. So, but if there's another room that we can use for that, we'll just eliminate this.
So for a couple of, to answer that question in particular, if we have a bigger group for bingo, we could set that up and, you know, partition that big room and use that room. Or
Yeah.
like I said, coming further down the drawings here is the lounge area. I figured that would be, because there's tables and chairs in there.
Yeah,
People want to do puzzles or cards or chess or whatever it is that they want to do. There's another space for us to do it. So I think we can eliminate this.
okay.
And I think the survey will help too. When we get answers back from that, we asked them, are they interested in this sort of thing? I think that will tell us too what we need.
Agreed. Yeah.
Because we're only speaking to a group right now when we're trying to project down the line. And I keep thinking about that group of old men that I saw playing poker around the table. They were having a good old time at one of the.
Yeah,
senior
they
centers.
were.
And when we get to the
They
lounge,
move over.
that's where I envision that, is that lounge area.
Okay,
So the next room is titled the art room. And I think he specifically titled that way because I had specifically requested to have a sink to be able to wash supplies after an art class. And he does have that in here. And it's got a significant amount of seating. So if we were going to do a painting class or whatever it is that Karen comes up with, plenty of tables and chairs in this room. There's also, he shows a whiteboard in here, the countertop with the sink. There's cabinets to be able to store supplies in there. I think, again, this can be multi-purpose. It doesn't necessarily just have to be for art classes. We can use it for whatever because there's seating and plenty of room in that room.
so that could be a game room if we needed it.
Sure. Sure. You could set bingo up in there. I mean, there's tables and chairs, and then you have someone stand in the front to call the number. Of course, yeah,
Yeah, it's big. It's 30 by 20.
yeah. So it could fit a good amount of people in there. And the next page is a storage closet, which again, in addition to those that cabinet under the sink, there's a whole closet where we can store our supplies. Which I don't know if that's 10 by 12. I'm not sure if we need that big, but I'm never going to say no to storage. Any questions about that room? Okay. So the next room is the lounge. And I really love this room. So I envision this, again, it's those guys sitting around playing poker at the table. It's someone doing a puzzle at the table. I'm going to sit here with a friend of mine and we're going to chat and have a cup of coffee, or I came to read the paper. It's sort of multi-purpose, multifunctional. You don't have to have an activity or a planned program. People can just feel free to come in and relax and gather there, which is really how I envision this senior center. I don't want people to think they only can come here if there's a dedicated program going on. We actually had someone stop by today. She said, I just came by to say hello. And we recruited her to be a driver. So she wants to take people to their COVID shots. So we're trying to set her up with the NEAT program. So, but I want people to feel free to just come by and meet with their friends or say hi to us or, just stop in, but they can certainly have a place to, sit down and relax. But again, we could do a dedicated program in there. The one thing that I love that he put in this room is a fireplace. I'd actually asked him for that in the lobby. I thought it would be kind of a nice welcoming thing to have a gas fireplace in the lobby. For any of you who have been to Newburyport, they have one. It's just it just struck me as being really warm and cozy. So I love that he put it in this room. Whether or not we get to keep it, I don't know, but I just think it helps make the room warm and inviting for people. If you want to sit and read your book in front of the fireplace, and there's comfortable chairs here in addition to the tables and chairs. And there's also a flat screen TV in this room. Whether we are displaying the calendar of events or if someone's watching TV, whatever it is that they want to do, it's just kind of a nice gathering spot. And that room also has a storage closet off of it, which is the next page. And then we get into the administrative offices. Did anyone have anything to add about that lounge area? And I don't know if I like that term. It makes me think of the game Clue, that someone's going to get murdered with the candlestick in the lounge. I don't know, but maybe we call it something else. But again, my thought process is multi-purpose.
When we have to do PR on this, we'll have to look closely at our names.
Yeah, how we name them. All right, so the next portion of pages is all about office space. And as I looked through this, and I understand that there is obviously potential for growth, I think this is an excessive amount of office space, and I cut 2 offices out, and I can explain why. So the director's office, I'm obviously partial to having that. Right now, we're the 3 of us are clustered together, and I did this purposefully because I'm new and Karen's new. I did not want to, I'm in the back office right now. I did not want to be separated away from anybody. I want to hear what's going on out there because I'm new and I'm learning and I want to be part of everything. And B, I want to be accessible to the team that I work with. So that's why I am, right now, and again, there's no one here. So for us to be out there taking phone calls or whatever, it's different right now with COVID. So no one's coming in here. So it's a different setup. But once we get to a place where we're like this, I do think it's important that we all have separate office spaces for privacy reasons. For me to be able to meet with people one-on-one or whatever. If someone comes in, we need to have privacy. The next office is the assistant director. Even if we grow hugely, I'm not sure there's ever going to be a need for an assistant director. So I felt it was okay to let that office go. I don't know what everyone's thoughts are on that. I mean, I know other councils on aging have a huge amount of staff, but they have a full-time day program. They have, they're a city that has 50,000 residents. We're a small town with a growing aging population. But I'm not sure there's going to be a need to have an assistant director, and I would hate to hold space for someone that I'm not sure you're ever going to need. I don't know what people's thoughts are on that. The next 2 offices, I'm sorry, go ahead, Evelyn.
Other than that, say you took that out, the assistant office, do you have enough office space for what you need as far as whatever you need, maybe a nurse or whatever, because we don't need to call it an assistant director's office, but I mean, is there enough for what you need without that?
I think so. And more. So the other two offices that we would need right now are the outreach coordinator and the program coordinator. Those are the next two. The next one he labeled was a community liaison, and that's another separate office. And then he has a whole administration office. So that includes the front desk where, historically here, it's been a volunteer who's come in to sit at the front desk to greet people. And
Right.
help answer phones. Whether or not that continues to be a volunteer or a paid staff member, that remains to be seen. But that front desk area is in this administrative office. And then there are two other workstations that look almost cubicle-like, which if a nurse was coming in, my thought is she would use that consultation room. But if she just needed to sit and, do some paperwork, I would feel comfortable with her sitting in one of those cubicle areas. As long as she doesn't need to meet one-on-one with someone. If she does, then again, we would have her set up and scheduled in that consultation room. And that's on us as a staff to schedule things appropriately so that we have the space for the people when they come. As far as the community liaison office, that was another one I felt we could let go. Because I don't know as though we need to have all of this office space. If we were to ever have a community liaison, I envision that person out in the community, getting the word out about who we are and what we do, not necessarily sitting at a desk in an office by themselves. So that was my thought on that space. I felt because he gave us this admin office space with those two other workspaces, if we had a volunteer that was going to help us with something, they could sit there. If we had, again, someone who came in from the community, they needed to just get on the print. I had someone come today, she doesn't have access to a printer and she needed to print out her COVID vaccine appointment information. So I printed it out for her, but someone like that could come in, it could be a shared workspace kind of a thing is how I envision that. So I felt those two other offices were a little excessive. That was just my feeling.
I was confused. Is the front desk separate from what's at the lobby?
I think that's it. That front desk is that reception sort of greeting desk when you come in the
Kind of
door.
overlaps. So
Yeah.
the front desk is, I'm echoing because I'm inside. I ran out of battery. I had to come inside. But anyway, the front desk and then the administration would be behind there.
Right, it's the way I'm seeing this, that's all one room. So I almost think I'm wondering if it's behind glass. Like if you think of a dentist's office or a doctor's office and you go into your reception desk,
Okay.
those people are right there and then you can see other.
Because it's almost like overlapping the lobby and the reception. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's it. So that's why I felt comfortable letting those other two offices go because he gave us this extra workspace in this office area. And then he did give us a storage closet for us to put office supplies, which I much appreciated. When we were on the call initially with Jeff, he asked us if I felt we needed a staff break room, which I didn't really feel we needed. But if we let go of these two offices, even having sort of a little nook where someone could go if they needed, if they just wanted to take a quick break to have a cup of coffee away from their desk. Doesn't need to be anything big, not nearly as big as what these office spaces are, but it was just something I had thrown out to him as potential off of this, maybe this admin office space is to have a little kind of private, tiny little area, nothing big. But that was my thought in terms of all these spaces. The only thing I felt was missing, which I know we likely can't determine until the very end of this whole process, is outdoor space, because we don't know. I would love to, and I said to him, I'd love to have an outdoor patio space where we could have tables and chairs, people could sit outside. If we wanted to do a luncheon with a grill outside, that'd be awesome. But I just think having some outdoor space is be kind of nice. We could do, some kind of programs out there too. So that was what was missing from my thought. Anyone else? have any
Okay, so what do you figure we cut down? A lot or a little here?
So as far as I'm seeing, we cut down those two office spaces in that games room.
Okay,
eliminate those three things completely. And then,
so square footage, what's that look like?
so one office is 10 by 12. I think the other one is the same. 10 by 12 office spaces. And the games room is 18 by 22. That's pretty significant. You're quizzing me on math with the square footage.
Yeah, no, that's fine. No, I'm sorry. I didn't want to put you on the spot. I was just trying to figure it out. Not a
Yeah.
heck of a lot, but brings us under 20,000.
And then again, if we need to eliminate that fitness room, I don't want to let it go right now, but if it needs to come down to it, that's fine. You know, I'm looking at it from, again, I haven't been here while programs are going on. I'm relying on what people have told me. And the room that we have now, when they were trying to do just a regular luncheon with maybe 20 people, it was so tight and so difficult to maneuver around. And then you can't do anything else at the same time. Whereas if we have these other spaces, yes, we can be doing a luncheon, but there could be, you know, a Tai Chi class going on at the same time, because those people that go to the luncheon maybe don't want to do Tai Chi or vice versa. We want to be able to offer multiple things at the same time. I don't want to be a what do they call that? A one-trick pony. You know, I want to be able to offer multiple programs ongoing. We want to be very busy is what I'm trying to say.
So I come up with 636 square feet. That reduces it by, I don't know if I'm right, but that's,
Yeah,
Yeah, you are.
yeah.
Well, that's a start, right?
Well, if we do any more, are we getting away from what we're trying to accomplish, making
Right.
sure we have enough space for now and the future?
I mean, it might just be a matter of maybe the rooms aren't 20 by 30. Maybe it's a little bit
Mhm.
smaller. You know, maybe we do that. We still have the rooms, just
Yeah.
maybe not quite as big if we have to cut down more. But the way
Right.
I look at
The
it, this gives
art
us,
room, the art room alone is 600 square feet, but that we were going to use for multi-purpose.
right.
So,
So if
do
you
we
envision
need-
other programs in there, we might need that much space.
right. Another one that's big is the lounge / library. That's 600 square feet.
Mhm.
And the fitness room is 600 square feet. Our big, large assembly, multi-purpose is 2,000 square, 2,000 square feet, but that's, I don't think we want to take away from that.
I don't, because I believe what I'd said to him was to possibly envision having 100 people in there for a meal. You know,
Yeah.
because I'm envisioning, I don't want us to leave our location for a holiday,
Right, because we have that volunteer appreciation.
right? And that's been
Where-
elsewhere.
Yeah, and that's been elsewhere. And the Christmas one has been elsewhere. I think those are the only two I can think of right now, but maybe we would do more.
If we had the space, we could do more.
Yes, right.
And again, with the ability to cut that room in half and have two smaller programs at the same time.
Right.
That's
And then the
beauty.
caterers, it would still be catered, because we would be a while before we would have the employees to cook a meal like that.
Right,
But yeah, okay. If you are going to, like I say, that page, it lays out all the square footage for everything that is there.
yep, I see that.
Yeah. Oh, he does have an outdoor patio and a canopy area there. And that's 1,200 square feet.
Oh, yeah, but he just didn't do a drawing on it, that's
Right.
all. That's why I got, just like he has the custodial closet trash recycling, that kind of thing. He has delivery and loading too. So maybe we just don't know where it is based on these drawings, but he's thinking of incorporating those.
And then all of this is incorporated into the total square footage.
Right.
Yeah, I think that outdoor patio area is very nice, but I think that's a wish. I mean, it's not a need. I think it's a wish.
Agreed, but I will tell you, a lot of councils on aging, from what I've been understanding from over the summer, they were utilizing their outdoor space because they couldn't be indoors. So they could still
Oh.
provide programming to people because they had that option. Now, here's hoping we're never going to go through this kind of a thing again. But if for some reason we did, it would just give us another option to have still
Yeah.
continue programming. I know a lot of other places were still offering things that this town was not because they couldn't. You can't even put a tent up outside in the school, when I had to go in the, the school parking lot or whatever, it's just not feasible. So when they had,
And
Okay.
Karen, if we knew where we were going, it's like when you buy a home, it doesn't necessarily come with a patio area, but you can add it on later. I'm thinking that could be a later on type thing.
yep, as long as the space was there. So
Yeah,
it's,
right.
it's certainly, that's an end of the road kind of decision, I think. It's
Yeah.
nothing. I certainly wouldn't say, we don't have outdoor space. Never mind, we're not going. I would,
It certainly isn't going to happen at the town hall area outdoor space because we're going to park on it. So,
Haven't you ever heard of tailgating?
yeah.
That's right, Evelyn.
So how much space? Oh, 660, okay.
So what's
Anybody-
next?
Anything else anybody want to say or any input?
So I took the notes. I can put them on paper.
Oh, Sandy, you're
They're
the
on
best.
paper, but they're not legible right now. I can put them so they're legible and then submit them. Do we send those to Jeff after we approve them, or what happens next?
Tracy, do you want to speak to that?
You can record your minutes and get those voted at your next meeting. But in the meantime, there's nothing to prohibit Cindy from getting in contact with Jeff. You two should make sure you've confirmed that you've got everything correct, and then report back to Jeff with your proposed changes, any concerns. You guys did an excellent job in going through the process and noting all of the issues or identifying all of the issues or concerns or questions. Get that to Jeff, and then he'll provide back to you a second draft or a response addressing all of your issues. And then once you get to the point where you're comfortable, where you feel you have all of the appropriate spaces identified and they're included in your document, then the next phase, I think at that point you'd report back to your council as well as the board, the select board. And then we could take it to the next step as far as, okay, here's the square footage we need. We already know what we need for square footage for town hall. That exercise has already been completed. The select board can then say to the architect, okay, we want to see a conceptual design. Could it even fit at this location? And if he says no, then the next step is, okay, we want to see it freestanding here, or I think you had mentioned, just having the the former town hall become the new COA and making alternative arrangements for town hall. I mean, there's a myriad of different options, but it will ultimately be up to the select board to decide how they want to move it forward.
Do you suggest that we take off the 1,200 square feet for the outdoor patio and canopy area for now? Because like Evelyn says, that can always be something added on if it isn't going to happen at the town hall site. So if we are going someplace else, we have everything except maybe that in our square footage, but it's something we could always add on at a later date.
If you think outdoor space is something that's important to your facility, I would leave it on at this stage of the game. And in terms of if you're considering that town hall site, there's a lot of work that needs to be done to that physical location. There's a hill behind the town hall. I think, if I recall correctly, when they were talking about doing the town hall police station, they were taking the entire hill out. So there's a lot of question marks. I think you'd want to wait until
Okay, I see.
location and a design to determine whether or not it's even possible to be
All right.
at that location.
So can I just ask regarding that? We keep that on and then it goes to the select board and they say, this is the location we're going to do. We need to cut, a certain amount of square footage. That's when we could say, let that go.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, that's right, Cindy. The reason the town hall space would be so wonderful, if it is ever workable, is because it's a lot closer than anything else. I mean, it's going to happen sooner than later, unless they decide to build a freestanding town hall, but we have no idea where this is all going, so we got to start somewhere, so if it sounds good.
Well, I think when we present it, we can just say, this is what we'd really like, but we're willing to work with whatever we need to do to get what we want. I mean, I just hate presenting it and making it sound like we want the town to spend a whole lot of money, but I do want to say what we want. So I don't know how you get that across.
Well, the thing is, if you're going to do it once, do it right, I guess, and later on, we're not saying like the gentleman said to us about it's never large enough. And
Right.
these COAs they build, they're never large enough.
Right, okay.
In other words, big is never too big is basically what he was saying. And I know it comes down to the dollars and cents, but who knows what monies are available. And Tracy can't tell us until we come up with something, how much. I had this conversation with you once before, that there's no way you can say what it's going to cost until we actually know what we're doing, our proposal.
All right, so let's just go for it.
All right, so Sandy, if you want to get those minutes, I'll compare my notes with yours and then
Okay.
I will shoot an email to Jeff.
Okay. Do they have, they don't have to go through Monday's meeting first, right? Our regular board
Through our
meeting.
board meeting.
We don't have
Tracy,
to.
we don't have to
doesn't
do
have to go
that,
through
right?
that.
I can,
I'm not sure what your regular board gave you as a charge, if they told you to get to the final draft, if you will, to present to them, or I'm not sure what the
Okay.
charge was.
I think we'll just. I
But
think we'll just-
Sandy, that's Monday, so. And we can, yeah, that's Monday, and that, so it's not that it's a month away or anything, it's Monday, and just for protocol and whatever, we can explain, or what happened today and where we're at.
Okay, okay, so Cindy, I'll get you the notes, hopefully this afternoon, if not tomorrow. Oh, you're not in tomorrow.
That's fine. You can still send them. I still look.
All right,
I knew that, yes.
okay.
All right. Just before we go, I know Janine, you joined us and I know you've been on mute the whole time. I didn't know if you had anything to add. I know you're not technically on the expansion committee, but you are on our board. So I didn't know if you had any thoughts.
No, I kind of agreed with stuff.
Okay.
You did say you were gonna take out the locker space so you were gonna cut that back. So don't forget that's an additional space. I wouldn't cut back on the toilet areas because
Okay.
if you have people coming in, or if you want to rent that space out, or, you want to be able to provide, people don't have to wait in a line, if you will. Just
True.
that one toilet isn't going to make that much difference. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that, but,
Okay.
yeah. And like
That's
you,
good
I have
feedback.
trouble visioning things, so I would have liked to have seen it laid out as a whole space, because
Me too. I know. It's
I
hard
had
to.
time with that, but that's okay, so.
That will
Yeah.
come. That will
With
It
come.
will
that-
come.
But that's just my own, I can't envision that. And some people
Yeah.
can, they're good at that, but, but
I'm with you. I was trying to lay all my papers out on the table and then I got frustrated because I wasn't sure where everything went. So,
yeah, no, but thank you for asking, and I really, it's encouraging.
it's exciting, right?
It's very exciting.
Good.
Because and we need to remember, you want to go in with everything. Don't take a 1, 2, 3 step. We'll add this later, because later doesn't happen in a town. Then you got to bring it back, and then you got to go through this all over again. So it's better to go as one step. This is going to meet us now and grow into the future,
Right.
and I think that's the wiser way to do it. So, and it's going to be a challenge no matter how we do it, because we're looking at putting up a town hall in some way or another. And we are asking for a council on aging, so there's 2 big asks in front of the town. And as a
Yeah.
taxpayer with, I'm on a limited budget, just like the rest of us seniors. Yeah, it kind of hurts a little, but we have to
Yeah.
think about that and, and how we present it and how we do it, So, but thank you.
Well, I appreciate the feedback. Thank you for joining us today.
So very interesting, and I'm very encouraged, and I'm very invested in this process. So
Good. Awesome. All right, anybody else? Are we good? All right. Do we set another meeting, another expansion committee meeting now, or can we do that later? I'm not
Why
sure.
don't you wait till you talk to Jeff?
Okay. All right. And then I'll let you guys know when I hear back from him.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Bye now.
Bye.
Bye-bye.